Psychoanalyzing a person you've never met may seem unorthodox even beyond the bounds of the profession. But when it comes to presidents, politicians, and world leaders, their inner psyche, that's fair game for everyone from historians to the CIA. Now, one psychiatrist is untangling the subconscious of Mitt Romney and President Obama, and he let ABC's Jake Tapper hop onto his couch.
Now that debates 1 and 2 are history, have we finally learned enough about these two candidates in order to pick one for president?
He stuck his chin out, and Obama punched him hard.
And one thing women voters don't like is a bully, and these two men were in each other's faces.
Dr. Justin Franks watches these debates not just as a voter, and he's a liberal Obama supporter, it should be noted, but as a psychoanalyst.
The guy who shakes hands with their hand on the top only, as a way of letting you know who's boss. And that's what Romney did with Obama.
Frank is the author of both Bush on the Couch and Obama on the Couch.
So, Dr. Frank, I'd like to talk to you about some issues I'm having with my candidates.
So I thought, from his couch, I might glean some insight.
You're a Freudian.
I'm a Freudian.
What does that mean?
Well, it means I'm interested in how people got to be the way they are, to looking at unconscious factors in their childhood.
Psychoanalyzing leaders one has never met is not so odd, actually. Was Abraham Lincoln gay? Why was Jack Kennedy so reckless in his personal life? Richard Nixon, Bill Clinton, there's no shortage of material.
I read an analysis of the first debate that said you could tell the real difference between who had a strong father versus President Obama, who did not have a strong father.
Romney was very comfortable being assertive, taking charge, eye contact. It's also that Romney has 5 sons, and when you have 5 sons, you got to be tough.
A conversation with Dr. Frank offers not the usual election analysis.
Both and thinker, called applied psychoanalysis, a repetition compulsion, either or thinker.
You'll get your chance in a moment. I'm still speaking.
Romney was what's called a narcissistic fighter, meaning he fights by taking a superior position and sort of talking down to the other person.
We got sold out!
That could describe most of the political discourse out there today, of course.
So I have a lot of history doing what's called applied psychoanalysis, which is looking at the past, looking at patterns, looking at behavior, looking at repetitive things.
Of course, politicians might have another take on it.
This is a bunch of stuff.
Long ago stuff, buried in the psyche stuff. Frank posits that Obama's belief he can change Washington had its genesis in his childhood.
He was fed a myth as a child about his father, who was a black African man who went to an all-white bar in Hawaii, and there was somebody making racist slurs, and his father walked up to this guy in the middle of this all-white bar and talked him down from his racist attacks. And that was a story that Obama was fed over and over again. And I really think it's very important, the idea that the power of reason, that he can really reason with people and talk them. But you can't reason with somebody who's convinced, like, say, Mitch McConnell, for instance, in just destroying you and making sure you're a one-term president.
And for the Freudians, Mitt Romney's seminal moment may have been when his father, Governor George Romney, Mitt Romney's hero, was essentially chased out of the Republican presidential race after he ended his support for the Vietnam War, saying this.
I just had the greatest brainwashing that anybody can get.
That quote was twisted unfairly, and George Romney became, sadly, something of a punchline. It was scathing for his son.
One of the lessons he learned was never to risk being humiliated, and therefore never to say what you actually think.
Of course, Dr. Frank, let's be frank.
Looking at Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, just in terms of mental health, is there one whom you would give the edge to?
Actually, to be president, you have to have a certain amount of unhealth, as long as you're reality testing. You have to be strong. You have to sometimes do things that people don't like. You're not always going to be considerate and always going to be thoughtful. And I think that that's very different kind of leadership.
The view from the couch of Dr. Justin Frank. For Nightline, I'm Jake Tapper in Washington.